Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. It's such a mouthful, but we're working with it. My name is Paula Despang. I'm your service leader this morning. Yay, big fun for me. And the first thing we do as we settle into our shared sacred space is silence our little electronic bits and pieces. And then while you're working on that, we will also have some committee moments. We will hear from various committee leaders at this time.
Yeah, so if anybody has a committee, something from one of the committees from the church that they'd like to share, you can either first, you can raise your hand in the Zoom portal, or you can raise your physical hand, knowing that I don't have the view, the gallery view right now, so give me a minute to scroll through, or you could put something in the chat. So I will just start off as the for about the women's group. Women's group will meet this Friday via Zoom at 7 o'clock. We're going to talk about things that have changed in our lives over the last 4 or 5 months, give some perspectives on those, and all are welcome. And if you don't know how to get connected to the women's group, I'm going to put my email in the chat, so you can send me an email and I'll put you on the list. Are there other committees, chairs that want to pipe in? Looks like Martha, I see your physical hand.
Yes, I just wanted to let people know our next quarterly meeting will be on the 16th in 2 weeks. We don't expect it to be real long, but just providing some updates, from the summer. So just keep that on your schedule. That'll be the day that Reverend Kathy's here. So we look forward to that.
I see Crystal has her hand raised. Crystal? I'm trying to unmute you.
Okay, got it. Good morning. Talking on behalf of Parent Support Group. As usual, we are having it tonight, but we have a new link. I'm going to throw it in the chat box. It is also available in this week's notable news. There should also be a Facebook event for anyone who follows Unitarian Universalist Fellowship on Facebook. You should be able to find the event on there, which includes the link. Okay.
Okay, somehow I lost my screen here. I know Chris Reed is trying to talk, but somehow, there we go. Hang on, Chris, let me unmute you. Okay, I think Chris, you're on.
Okay, I just wanted to let everyone know that we're beginning White Fragility, the congregational read, and we're going to have our first Zoom discussion next Sunday at 1 o'clock. It'll be on Sundays at 1. We're reading 3 chapters a week, and we would love for more people to join us. So let us know if you are interested. Thank you.
I see Chloe Mcelroy next, so I'm going to try to unmute you.
Hi, hello. I am here representing Millennial Group. We are having our next Millennial Group this Wednesday at 6:30. It's Millennial Plus, so 18 and up. If you consider yourself a Millennial or like-minded with Millennial, feel free to join us. I'm going to drop my information in the chat just in case, and the link for the group. But this Wednesday, August 5th at 6:30.
Thank you, Chloe. And looks like we have David Mcelroy next.
Okay, hi everybody. Men's group tomorrow night, 6:30 on Zoom. For those of you can go to Notable News, it's on there. Otherwise, I have the link on the men's email that I sent out. And if anybody doesn't have that or hasn't gotten that or wants to get in touch with me, you can. So, thanks.
Thanks, David. I see Ray. She's raising her hand, so I'm going to try to unmute her. Hold on. trying to unmute you, Ray, but I'm struggling. I'm not sure why I can't. Can you, Ray, can you unmute yourself? Ray, do you want to just type your message in the chat? She's struggling. So while Ray's trying to figure that out, is there I have another committee moment that I wanted to mention that we have Heather Wilkie.
I got it.
Oh, okay, let's go, Ray, and then we'll put on Heather.
Okay. What I wanted to say to new faces that I see this morning, and I've seen some of them before, as membership co-chairman, I would be greeting you and dragging you around to meet other people. And I see Peyton, Mark, and Heather that I haven't officially met before. And this is just killing me because I just love to get to know new people and people that are visiting for the first time or not the first time, but just an unofficial welcome because I can't be there to give hugs and just introduce you to new ideas and new things and new people, but welcome.
Thank you, Ray. So now we're going to have Heather Wilkie. Heather is so now we're going to have Heather Wilkie. Heather's with the Zebra Coalition, and she wanted to say a few words to our congregation.
Hi, everyone. It's so good to see you all through Zoom in our new reality here. I'm the executive director at Zebra Coalition, and I know that you've probably met Gustavo, who spoke to you a while ago about the work that we do at Zebra. So I won't go into that, but I did want to just give you all a huge thank you. Your congregation helped raise $1,800 for Zebra's youth. So it's incredible, right? Despite all of our challenges that we have going on, that your group you were able to raise that amount of money is incredible. So thank you all so much. For organizations like Zebra, we're small, and so that amount of money will go far and support some of these kids. We've had a lot of extra challenges because of COVID. And so we opened up 3 new beds just to help with emergency needs to help youth quarantine when we were back in phase 1. And we're still supporting those additional beds and the additional youth with that. So any extra funds that come through will go directly to that. So we really appreciate you all, and please stay in touch. Please stay in touch with us. Hopefully at some point you can come by and see our drop-in center. I hope you have our contact information, and if not, I will go ahead and leave my email in the chat, and we'll hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Heather, and thanks to the Social Action Committee for organizing that donation and getting us all moving on that. Are there any other committee moments? I'm just trying to scroll through to see if I see anybody else's hand. Some people scratching their heads, so I think that that's not their hand raised. Oh, I do see Gina. It looks like she's actually saying that she wants to talk. Gina, hello.
Posted in the chat that the Spirit Seekers group is still meeting, and then I saw that there was a couple of questions. So Spirit Seekers is a book study. We are currently meeting every Wednesday through Zoom. We don't read the book ahead of time. We actually read the book in the group meeting. So if anybody wants to join us, it hasn't been in the notable news, so I'll send the information to Trishta so that we can get the Zoom link in the notable news. We pick a new book every one, so as soon as we finish the last book, I can't say every month because it takes us a long time to read and discuss a book. But we're currently reading Wayne Dyer's interpretation of the Tao Te Ching. So we pick something different all the time, but if you're interested in joining us, we'd love to have you.
Thank you, Gina. Any other committee moments? I don't see any other hands. So given that, I will turn it back to Paula.
Thank you. In a normal order of things, my opening words are in my phone. Out of the din of the city, away from the noise of the crowds, we come to rest in this moment, in this place, set apart from the never-ending to-do lists, embracing the day of rest. We come to the warmth and stillness of this sacred hour. Remember, you have chosen to be here. Something in your life led you to arrive here at this time. Whatever tasks and cares await you, now, for this brief time, simply rest. Allow your soul to be nurtured. Let the waves in your mind and heart gradually subside as you come home to yourself, holy and whole. Let us come and worship together. And that's from Sherry Woodbury. And I'm the chalice lighter today. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. And to affirm our relationship to each other. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. Well, our guests have been welcomed, and I'll say it again, welcome and come again. Our door is open. Our door is open all the time. Well, our virtual door is certainly open. And one of the things that we do in this congregation is share our joys and concerns. Joys shared seem to multiply, and concerns shared do seem diminished, divided, and it helps to have someone to help us bear them. So I'm going to turn the mic over to Amanda Major, and she will recognize hands as they go up.
Thank you so much, Paula.
this is where we usually have a time for all ages, and I'm going to turn the mic over to Mark. He's got something very brief that he wants to share with us at this time, and so I'm going to give it to him. Let him do it.
Thank you, Paula. Good morning, everyone. I want to thank Martha for inviting me to be with you. It's a pleasure to be with my UU friends from the Orlando area. This morning's reading is from the Reverend Barbara Merritt. It's time someone told you that with all your flaws and weaknesses, you are an extraordinary person, well worth knowing. No one, especially not the people who love you, expects you to live without making mistakes or stumbling occasionally. It's time you looked at your life with more kindness, gentleness, and mercy. It's time someone told you that you are not on this earth to impress anyone, to dazzle us with your success, to conquer all obstacles with your competence, or to offer one brilliant solution after another. We are happy that you are here with us struggling souls. We are all striving to be as faithful as we can be to the truth that we understand. No more is required. It's time someone told you that the work you do to increase your capacity to love and to pay attention is more important than any other activity. As you advance closer to what is ultimately true and life-giving, you bless others. It's time somebody told you how absolutely beautiful your laughter is. You bring joy into our world. It's time someone told us all that we are valued and infinitely worthwhile. And it's time we believed it. The words of Barbara Merritt, so ends the reading.
Wow. Thank you. It's time. It's also time for our interlude and offering. We have a composition by Lou Murray. She gave us complete permission to use it as much as we like, as often as we like. And you can contribute electronically, or you can write a check and drop it in the mail. A little information there on your screen. So I will stop talking and let you do it. Thank you for your contributions. Know that they are not just held in our little church pocket, but 40% of everything we drop in the plate every week goes out to some community, just community organization like the Zebra Coalition or several others that the Social Action Committee chooses. They do the research and we put the money in, and there it goes, and doing good work around the world. So now I bring you Mark Bernstein. He's been a member of the UU Church of Delaware County in Media, Pennsylvania for 27 years. He's a former staff member with the Central Eastern region of the UUA and currently serves as adjunct staff with the region. He works with congregations across the country through his consulting business. He lives with his wife, Deborah, in Springfield, Pennsylvania. His favorite superhero, since we have to talk about superheroes today, his favorite superhero is the Flash. Mark, it's all yours.
Great. Thank you, Paula. So before I begin, two things. First, I want to acknowledge that not everyone in the congregation is a superhero fan, but I don't despair. I think this talk will still work for you. But after I'm done, if you are intrigued and want to discover the wonderful world of superhero comic books, I have a room full of comic books in my house, and I'll be happy to send you a couple so you can start reading. The second thing is I am not obsessed with superheroes. I don't attend, like apparently Paul is, I don't attend Comic Con, the comic convention, or dress up in superhero outfits. And if you don't believe me, you can ask my two children, Thor and Batgirl, and they will attest to that. So let's begin. I remember that day like it was yesterday, although I can't quite remember the year. I was 7, maybe 8 years old, and standing in the backyard of my home in Plainview on Long Island, getting ready to fly. Now, I was just a little kid and pretty naive, and it wasn't the 1960s just yet. So my flying was not going to be chemically induced. I don't want you to get the wrong idea. No, I'm talking about real lifting up off the ground, soaring through the air, and gently coming back to Earth, flying. You see, my hero at the time was Superman, the Man of Steel, the last son of Krypton, the Metropolis Marvel, strange visitor from another planet, the Man of Tomorrow, Big Blue. As a kid, I followed his exploits from month to month in the pages of my comic book, waiting anxiously for the next issue to arrive, and then tearing into the magazine seemingly seconds after it was dropped in my mailbox. Spending hours reading of the tales of Superman and some of my other favorite superheroes, like Batman, Green Lantern, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, the Atom. You can tell I was a DC Comics fan. And my all-time favorite, The Flash. These are among the most vivid memories of my childhood. Along with baseball, that experience helped to shape my values, kept me company, gave me comfort, and to a large extent, helped to define who I was and who I would become. So there I was in my backyard, closing my eyes, extending one arm forward, and imagining, no, willing myself to fly. With a soft up, up, and away, I began to ascend. Suddenly in my mind, I was no longer touching the ground. I could feel my body begin to rise, now even with the roof of my house, now hovering over the power lines, now looking down at the mosaic of houses that formed my neighborhood. Soon I was high above the earth, and meandering among the planets. I don't remember how long I was up there, but after a while it was time to come home, and I imagined myself hurtling through the atmosphere, heading straight toward my house, and at last softly landing on the concrete of my back porch. The experience was transcendent. It was mystical. It was spiritual. Now, don't look at me like that, you all. I guess it was my earliest attempt to engage in transcendental meditation, my attempt to lift myself out of my mundane world and into a world of unlimited imagination, one where superheroes live and good always wins out in the end. Over the years, there has been a surprising amount of attention in literature paid to the connection between religion and our superheroes of youth. Studious people have conjectured and sought evidence to identify the religious affiliations of our childhood heroes with amazing superpowers. Superman, for example, grew up in a solid Midwestern, church-going Protestant, probably Methodist family. Of course, he couldn't have been Jewish because if he was, he would take off from the ground yelling, "Up, up, and oy vey." These are the jokes, folks deal with them. Batman is either Episcopalian or Catholic, Holy Bible Batman. The Thing, a member of the Fantastic Four, whose real name is Ben Grimm, is Jewish. This is really true. In one comic book issue, he prayed in Hebrew and spoke proudly of his religious heritage. And he certainly doesn't look Jewish. Wonder Woman is a pagan. Captain America is generally Protestant and attends church every week. He's strongly committed to religious diversity, don't you know? There's some debate about whether the Flash is Protestant or Jewish. Rogue from the X-Men is Southern Baptist. Elektra from Daredevil is Greek Orthodox. Cypher from New Mutants is a Mormon. And Spider-Man sometimes addresses God in spontaneous prayer. So there appears to be some connection between superheroes and religion. And if that is the case, what is the nature of it? In his book, The Gospel According to Superheroes, Religion and Popular Culture, B.J. Aropiza writes that superhero stories tap into universal mythic elements. He argues that at the center of every human, spiritual, or intellectual journey is a quest for everlasting paradise. For as a whole, humanity has lost its original paradise and wants to be restored to it. Boy, is that true these days. Superheroes, he continues, historically battle evil forces that are threatening our way of life, and in defeating them, restore an Eden-like paradise to earth. Superheroes, in other words, provide for us what we as human beings ultimately seek, a paradise on earth. Further, according to the author, superheroes ultimately serve as what he calls secular agents, through which people can alleviate some of their anxieties about the future of this planet by insisting that the forces of goodwill ultimately triumph over those of evil. And finally, for Aropiza, superheroes serve an important cultural function. They allow readers to vicariously fight injustice and evil through the adventures and triumphs of their heroes. Aspiring for a better life for everyone, standing up to evil forces in the world, alleviating anxieties and concerns, fighting injustice. It sounds like these superheroes just might be, wait for it, Unitarian Universalists. A poll that was conducted a few years ago asked children and adults ranging in age from 10 to 60 to list the characteristics they admired most in their superheroes. The characteristics most often mentioned included a good heart, a search for justice, an indomitable spirit, a yearning for peace, a willingness to help others, the ability to always choose right over wrong, and a lack of discrimination. These folks are the exact qualities that are embodied in our 7 principles. These are the attributes that define us as Unitarian Universalists. This is what we as Unitarian Universalists should and must stand for. So there is no doubt about it. Superman and his superhero friends are card-carrying, chalice-lighting, joys and sorrow sharing, coffee-drinking, covenant-making, crock-wearing, justice-seeking, debate-loving Unitarian Universalists. Green Lantern reads Forest Church. The Thing attends General Assembly every year. Wonder Woman facilitates Soul Matters small group ministry. Captain America heads the Canvas Drive. Spider-Man is a chalice lighter. Aquaman sings in the choir. The Atom runs the annual auction. Invisible Girl answers the call to love. And Elongated Man voted for Reverend Susan Frederick Gray for UUA president. Actually, there is a bona fide, self-disclosing Unitarian Universalist among the Marvel superheroes, and I'm not making this up. His name is Barry Kenzeski, and his alias is Peace Lover. He only appeared in 1 or 2 issues of the comic book, but he is a bona fide superhero. But it figures that his name would be Peace Lover, right? It can't be something cool like Uniman or the Flaming Chalice. Peace Lover is a member of the Anti-Registration Underground, a resistance group of superhumans who opposed the Superhuman Registration Act during the Superhuman Civil War. Now stay with me here. And the Superhuman Registration Act, as we all know, was a legislative bill which was passed into law enforcing the mandatory registration of superpowered individuals with the government. This led supporters and critics to debate the rights of the individual on one side versus the rights of society at large on the other. Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about either. Although this issue of individual rights versus the rights of society at large does seem awfully familiar, doesn't it? Moving on. Having gotten to this point in the writing of this discourse and confident that I would be able to cleverly convince you that superheroes must be Unitarian Universalists since they possess the essential characteristics of being a UU, I then came to the realization that I had this whole thing backwards. What's really important is not that superheroes possess UU characteristics, but rather the other way around. That possessing characteristics of Unitarian Universalists makes us superheroes. And I want to thank the people of the Peterborough Unitarian Universalist Church in Peterborough, New Hampshire, for this picture. Being a Unitarian Universalist brings out the best in us. It steels us against the disappointments of life. It fills us with hope and optimism so that we can soar above life's problems. It makes us superheroes. It imbues us with X-ray vision so that we can see past our differences and discover the goodness in each other. through the teachings and practices of Unitarian Universalism, we gain the power to lift up others when they are in despair, the power to offer clarity when the minds and eyes of others are out of focus. We use our UU superpowers of empathy and love, of listening and caring to give meaning to the lives of those with whom we share this faith and with those who don't. So it is because of my belief in and adherence to the principles of Unitarian Universalists that I am a superhero. I have superpowers. And from what source springs this amazing ability? From you, from the members of the University Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Orlando. And yes, Paula, that is a mouthful. And from the more than 1,000 congregations around the country, including my own in Media, Pennsylvania. I gain my strength through the power of relationships. You all are the yellow sun that makes me indestructible, like Superman. You are the power ring that enables me to create whatever I have the will to do, like Green Lantern. You are the gamma rays, the radioactive spider, the electricity, and the magic incantation that gives me the power to run like the wind, leap tall buildings in a single bound, communicate with the denizens of the deep, and fight for truth, justice, and the American way. Through your faith in me and mine in you, we are compelled to do great things. Together, we are the Justice League of America. We are the Legion of Superheroes, the Guardians of the Galaxy, the Super Friends, the X-Men, and the X-Women. We are superheroes. In sharing this faith together, we have an obligation to continue to be the source of each other's power, especially during this unprecedented time of isolation and heartbreak, but also courage and perseverance. To tell each other, as Barbara Merritt wrote in my earlier reading, that we are extraordinary people, well worth knowing, that we bring joy into each other's lives, that we are valued and infinitely worthwhile. It is the knowledge that we are inextricably bound together in our desire to create a better world for ourselves and for others that helps to sustain me, that both gives me comfort and that constantly challenges me. It unleashes my superpowers, and most of the time, that is enough. But every once in a while, when I'm alone, I imagine myself in my backyard in Plainview, eyes closed, one arm outstretched. And if I concentrate hard enough, I begin to leave the ground, up, up, and away. Thanks for listening, friends.
Thank you so much, Mark. I've needed that. I've needed that.
Me too.
So say it with me as you extinguish your own chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. My closing words come from Amy Zucker Morgenstern. May all our hours together be blessed as this one has been. By open-hearted sharing, learning from one another, and making beautiful harmonies together. And may we greet everyone we encounter with the same acceptance and grateful kinship until we meet again. Blessed be. I want to thank Mark again for his thoughtful presentation and also all the other moving parts we have here: Amanda Major, Pat Mitchell, Paul Mata, Martha Kirby, Trista Hall, and Ann Packham. Did I catch everybody? I don't know. We're doing our best here, and we thank you for joining us. You may linger a little while. I can't give you coffee or cookies, but I give you a little space in which to chat with your neighbors.